So once again, you and I find ourselves in agreement in not really going for or liking a thing that everyone else seems to really want to do. And this is to do with time restricted eating and fasting. So before people kind of lose it and think, Jesus, no, there's so many incredible benefits. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience, like particularly with your clients, obviously, and in your membership discussions about like, why is this not as straightforward as it seems? Hit me.
Right. So, as just said, we're often talking about this in the membership, and there's often a bit of disagreement. So, we all know there's loads of research around fasting, time restricted eating, and I don't think you can disagree about how it works, what it does, what it changes, all those magnificent things it does. But I think our job as nutritional therapists or whatever you do is to apply that into the real world.
Mm.
And the clients I work with, so they're mainly perimenopause, menopause, so usually about 45 onwards I work with. I've not yet met a woman who's come to me who is doing some form of fasting and feels okay.
Mm.
So to me, that's sort of an alarm bell. It's like, well, hang on, what's going on here? And I think a lot of the time, the clients that we're working with, they're not these perfect specimens that are, physiologically and biologically superhuman and do all their amazing biohacking and all their crazy stuff. They're just
Yeah.
normal people who've got
Mm.
normal jobs, normal families, the stress that we all have, probably not sleeping, not exercising, eating crappy food, all that kind of stuff. So if you've got them in that position, then you go, I tell you what, just to make your life that a little bit more complicated, why don't you just stop eating from after 6 o'clock at night until 11 o'clock the next day? That's a great idea. Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So I think what happens when you find women in that position, I say women, I'm sure it's men as well, is they're not eating enough in the day to get the right amount of nutrients. They're skipping meals. They often fall into those sort of feast, famine, binge, starve cycles. And then it starts ruling their lives. Oh no, I can't go out tonight. I'm on a fasting day. Oh no, I can't eat this evening because I'm on my special routine. So
Mm.
I think there's so many problems with it when you translate that research into the real world.
Yeah. I've always said to my practitioners and my clients, like, if you're really poorly and your endo's really giving you trouble, we've got to imagine that the starting point's not good. And this is exactly what you said, is like,
Mm.
if your blood sugar is completely all over the place and insulin, then it's not an appropriate step to take. The next step to take probably isn't go for really long periods of time without eating and
Mhm.
just hope that that helps.
Yeah.
Really interesting what you just said about it's not just the starting point, it's also the reality of how are you actually doing it and what are you actually eating. Like
Mm.
it seems
Yeah.
to me that because I hadn't thought about that before, is do you see some have you seen some disordered eating with people who are doing it? And like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's to the point that it'd be flagged up as like a major issue, but it's definitely disordered. And rather than improving someone's life, it's making it more complicated. It's adding more stress. Because, we talk about, um, we work with our clients, we need to talk to them about lifestyle changes, ways to manage their stress. And there's always those clients that come along that have a great long to-do list with their stress. So I must do my meditation when I wake up. I have to do my quick bit of yoga before I have breakfast. I then have to drink a pint of some special water with lots of magic ingredients in it. Then I've got to remember to wear my special glasses at night time. And I've got to put my sauna blanket on between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock before I get the kids. And then when I have the kids, I do some mindfulness in the car while I'm waiting. And you're like, oh my God,
mm,
I'm just stressed even thinking about your
yeah,
list. So it's that similar sort of things like, oh, and then I must restrict my eating. I've got to have dinner by this time. I've got to, make sure that I have to wait until I have my first meal of the day. And I just think it's adding to that whole stress pot, just making it worse.
Complete false economy, isn't it? Way of thinking. So now, really importantly, how do we go about trying to use some of these principles that may have some of these magic benefits without falling into these traps? Because, just as you said at the beginning of the conversation, like, yes, we do want to improve our insulin sensitivity. Yes, we do want to kind of give our pancreas a break. Yes, we do want to kind of not use our digestive system all the bloody time and make things worse. Yeah, I mean, okay, we may not get to the point of fancy stuff like autophagy and whatever else it is that might be thought of with fasting, etc. So what is your advice, and what have your colleagues that you discuss this stuff with, what is everyone's opinion on how should we try and incorporate some of this?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's complicated. I think the principles behind fasting, yes, they are complicated, and it's all amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's really interesting. But in terms of translating that into something the average client can do, or even like yourself, I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't fast. I don't go cold water swimming. I don't know all the stuff that a middle-aged woman's meant to do to
Mm.
stay healthy. You're never going to see me in a dry robe, let's face it.
Oh, damn.
But I think in terms of translating it to real life, there's nothing complicated. Just eat 3 meals a day. I mean, 3 meals a day, if you think about it, if you have your breakfast at 7, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, your lunch at maybe 12, 12:30, that's 5.5 hours that you're not eating. And that's, the perfect window to allow your insulin, your glucose, all of those digestive processes to reset and find their groove again, ready for the next meal. Then have your lunch at 12:30. And then by the time you have your dinner, again, you've got another 5, maybe 6 hours before your dinner.
Mhm.
And that's it. Just eat 3 meals a day. Do what your granny used to do. And then you're naturally building intermittent or rather time restricted eating into your daily life without making a big drama out of it and without it affecting your social life and your mental health and making sure that you're getting the right nutrients in. So three
Mhm.
meals a day and just stop snacking. I mean, there's times when you might want to snack if you're doing lots of exercise, but that's
Mm.
another conversation. But just 3 meals a day, that's it. Why,
So
why
let's
do
play
you
a
think it's so
game.
complicated?
I want to play a game. This is going to be fun, right? Um, as our closing nugget, you think in your head, don't tell me, but think of a percentage of your clients full stop, who you think come to you already eating 3 meals a day in the fashion that you've described, so appropriate intervals and fasting in between. Think of the percentage that you think already do that when they come to you, right? And I'm going to think of the percentage that I think already do it. And then I'm going to go one, two, three, and then I'm going to say the percentage. Okay. I'm going to think of it. Hang on. Okay. I have one. Have you got one? Okay. So say the number. Right. Here we go. One, two, three, 15. Oh, you didn't.
Zero.
Oh, you
Zero.
did zero. Oh my God.
Zero.
Really? None of
Yeah. If
them?
I, if I think of all the clients I've seen, I'm not going to say this year because it's only January, but let's say the last 6 months, none of them.
Really?
Yeah, none of them eat 3 meals a day. They say they eat 3 meals a day, and then you
Right.
go, hang on a minute. So you went to Costa and had a coffee,
Okay.
and that was like a big fancy pants latte. I mean, that's technically eating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then in the afternoon, it's like, oh, well, I was making the kids tea and I just had a little bit of this. Or after they've had dinner, oh, then I had some green and black chocolate and a bag of kettle chips. So it's the little things that come in. Hardly anyone actually eats 3 meals a day.
I mean, I guess our clients, I should have thought of that. Like our clients are slightly different in the positions that they're in. And I would say that the only reason that I think 15 of mine probably do is because they're often, endo girls are often pretty well informed sometimes. And so they're like gonna have tried a lot of shit because they're really poorly. So I guess that's just a lesson to us that, something that simple can be completely transformative, right? Completely.
I say to clients, no, I mean, we've all had those clients who come to us who eat really, really bad diets, fast food, 15 coffees a day, like the worst. For those people, even if they don't change what they eat,
Yeah.
but change when they eat, that has a massive impact on how they feel. And sometimes that's the first thing I do. I say, well, look, we'll worry about what you're eating, maybe, as we go along. But for starters, I just want you to drink more water and just eat 3 meals a day, cut out the snacks.